James here with New Adventure Films. In this quick Mavic 4 Pro tutorial, I will show you the settings you need to change to get the best video quality, how to get perfect exposure, how to set the white balance to prevent color shift, how frame rates affect video quality, the differences between the 4 color profiles, and the differences between shooting in H.265 and all-I. So let's dive in. Okay, by now if you own the DJI Mavic 4 Pro, you already know its image quality is a major step up from previous DJI drones. But to get the highest quality footage, there are some settings you have to dial in first. Before you make any adjustments to the individual lens settings, go to the camera settings menu on your controller. Set your color profile to normal. I will go over the differences between D-Log, D-Log-M, and HLG later in this video. Next, set your video codecs to H.265 for normal editing. I will cover the difference between all-I and H.265 later in the video. Next, turn on video subtitles. These text files aren't visible on your screen but are separate files that contain your flight's telemetry data like GPS coordinates, altitude, speed, and camera settings, shutter, ISO, etc. Next, turn on app recording to be able to record audio through your drone controller. Next, set anti-flicker on to auto. This is useful when you are shooting in areas with incandescent lights that sometimes flicker, but when your camera is in pro mode, it only works when auto ISO and auto shutter speed is turned on, so this may not be a selection if you're already in pro mode. Next, set your histogram to off. I don't like too many distractions on my flight screen, and overall, I don't find it as helpful as the overexposure setting. If you want to use it, the goal is to make sure that neither of the spikes, shadows on the left or highlights on the right, are too far to the edge of the screen. But overall, it's not very helpful. Next, turn on peaking level to normal, so that if you use manual focus, you will be able to see in red what the drone is focusing on. Next, and I find this one very valuable, turn on overexposure warning. This will give you the zebra lines on your screen in areas that are being overexposed but will not appear in your video. Next, this you can do or not do. These are the grid lines. If you want to turn them on, it's just a way for you to visually line a shot up with the drone cameras. So play around with whatever works best for you, but they will not appear on your video regardless. Next, leave your frame guide off for now. We can discuss that later. Set your white balance to auto. We will be setting that to manual later. And finally, select the drop-down arrow for style. Use the sliders to set your sharpness and noise reduction to 0. You can always increase both in your post-production software, but if they are set too high, they cannot be fixed. The rest of the settings on this menu are not applicable to our discussion on video quality, so now we want to go back to the main screen. Setting the exposure and video quality plays a key role in getting great video. Start by switching to the Pro mode on the bottom right-hand side of the controller screen. Set your video quality to 6K, then set your preferred frame rate. We will go over frame rates later in the video, but simply put, the higher the frame rate, the sharper the video, but the less cinematic it will look. Also, higher frame rates can be slowed down a lot, whereas lower frame rates only a little or not at all. Next, keep your color profile to normal and your video codecs to H.265. We'll go over the differences between these later. Next, set your shutter speed to twice your frame rate. Not setting your shutter speed to twice your frame rate can cause stuttering, jittery video playback. Next, set your aperture to 2.8. On the Mavic 4 Pro, 2.8 is the best setting for sharpness, which is why they put a star next to it. Next, set your ISO as low as possible to get an even exposure. And finally, set your white balance to auto to see what the drone thinks is correct. If it looks good, take it off auto to avoid color shift during flight. For the optimal aperture of 2.8, you'll need an aftermarket ND filter. The medium and telephoto lenses are fixed at 2.8, so ND filters are almost always required when flying in the daylight. DJI is currently developing a clip-on electronic variable ND filter for the Mavic 4 Pro that will let you adjust ND strength directly from the controller. But as of now, there's no confirmed release date, just rumors. Something else you might not know is that although the main 28mm lens can shoot in 6K, the 70 and the 168mm lenses can only shoot in 4K. The Mavic 4 Pro can shoot in 4 different color profiles: normal, D-Log, D-Log-M, and HLG. I use the normal profile the most because it seems to produce the best white balance, clarity, and I could shoot in any ISO. It's also a lot easier to color grade than the other color profiles. D-Log is a flat color profile until you add a LUT to your editing software, which you can get from the DJI website. Simply put, a LUT will make it a lot easier to color grade your video. Log is meant for more tricky lighting situations where there is extreme bright and dark areas, mostly in lower light. And when using D-Log, you have to start with a base ISO of 400. So in the middle of the day, D-Log does not work well as it adds noise to your video. D-Log M is a kind of combination between the normal and D-Log color profiles. Unlike D-Log, you can use any ISO you like with D-Log M, and the profile is not as flat. There is a LUT for D-Log M as well, but it's not as difficult to color grade in post. HLG is the only color profile I don't use. I do not find the white balance accurate, and the dark and light colors seem to be too dark or too light. And compared to the normal and D-Log profiles, in my opinion, does not look as nice. Here are the 4 color profiles side by side. Let me know in the comments below which one you like the best. Here are the normal D-Log and D-Log M color profiles side by side in the middle of the day. You can probably see that the normal color profile looks the best midday. The frame rate you choose will determine how sharp your video looks and how much motion blur it has. This clip was filmed at 30 frames per second, slightly higher than the 23.976 frames per second standard for cinematic video. You can see slight blurring near the bottom of the screen as the bushes go by. This next clip was filmed at 60 frames per second. You can see that the bushes are a lot sharper as they move past the bottom of the screen. This is a side-by-side comparison between a 30 frame per second clip and a 60 frame per second clip, both on a 30 frame per second timeline. The 30 frame per second clip has more motion blur, which is more normal to the human eye, so only use higher frame rates when you want to slow down a video. Remember, the higher the frame rate, the sharper the video, but the less cinematic it will look. The Mavic 4 Pro offers 2 different video codecs to shoot in, H.265 and All-I. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the video quality. In my opinion, there is no difference at all between the 2 codecs, except that All-I is very difficult to work with as it slows down my very powerful computer to a crawl in the editing process, and the H.265 file sizes are 1/5 that of All-I. So for these reasons, I recommend that you always shoot in H.265. I will post links to my other tutorials on how to get great audio, how to use ActiveTrack, and how to do time lapses and 360 pictures in the description below. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. And to receive notifications on my future adventure videos and tutorials, please hit the bell button. Thanks for watching.